Welcome back as we continue our study in the great book of Genesis. And now we're going to be in chapter 42. This dealing with the beginning of the reconciliation between Joseph and his brothers and the beginning of the bringing together of the what would become the nation of Israel in the land of Goshen. Now, again, we have many examples of us coming back together. One of the things that we have seen the devil do in the Garden of Eden was divide and conquer. He divided Eve from Adam and conquered them both. See? So he had her go against the Most High's word. He fooled her, he tricked her. And she went against the Most High's word. Then she brought that to her husband and they both fell. Okay. And ever since then, it's been a common practice of the enemy to divide and conquer Yah's people. And I think we've all seen that. Divide and conquer has been a prevalent technique of the devil. And we see it, for example, even today, there have been many movements among the oppressed peoples of the earth. The movements have been thwarted by a lot of times the method of divide and conquer. So you get an enemy person within the ranks of the oppressed, and that enemy works on behalf of the enemies of the people, and then you have a divided situation. And for example, even among the Hebrews, you have Hebrews that will say, I'm not black, I'm Jamaican. What are they doing? They're dividing themselves from their brothers and sisters by declaring themselves to be a nation that was created by the enemy. Okay, same thing, Dominican. I'm not black, I'm Dominican. That's a divide and conquer. Okay, or Dominicans thinking they're better than the Haitians, not realizing that you're both under the same oppressive system. One of you was more rebellious against that system than the other. Therefore, you're treated better by the enemy. But you still both have the same enemy, but you've been divided. Okay, this is not new. We saw Joseph's brothers sell him out of jealousy. Their father showed favored Joseph, and the brothers hated that. Joseph didn't help the situation with his dreams and the way he was a little tattletale, and they sold him. So we see this divide and conquer technique all the time. In fact, in every situation where there is a revolution, an overthrow of a government, of a country, in so-called third world countries, whether it be Haiti or African nations like Chad or Mali or Ghana, or any name an African nation where they had, or other nations like Nicaragua, Panama, name nation, and you'll see that it's the same pattern. There's a funded persons in the middle of the nation that's being funded by outside peoples that designed to divide the people and conquer them all. Okay, it's the same technique. Okay, and so we've seen that over and over again, but the Most High shows us that this will be beaten, and we praise the Most High for his word. Let's get a couple of witnesses. First, Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah chapter 11. Isaiah 11, and I'm going to begin at verse 12. Actually, I'm going to begin at verse 11. No, let me start at verse 10. From verse 10 down to verse 14, Isaiah chapter 11, from verse 10 to verse 14. Isaiah 11, 10 to 14. In that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Mizraim, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Amath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, and they shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hands upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. See, so you're getting a reconciliation between the southern tribes of Judah and the northern kingdom of Israel. Same thing today. Whenever you see Spanish people or Latin people saying, "Oh, we're not black," or "we're different from colored people or black people," that is really Ephraim and Judah being separated, divided. Ephraim and Judah being divided. Okay, but the Father is showing us that's not going to remain forever. Let's take a look at another example. I just turned my Bible right up to it. Ezekiel chapter 37. Ezekiel chapter 37. Ezekiel 37. And I'm going to start at verse 16. Ezekiel chapter 37, from verse 16 down to verse 28. This is the valley of the dry bones. Ezekiel chapter 37 is the valley of the dry bones, but we're not going to read about the dry bones. We're going to read the second half of that chapter, which many people don't even read, but it's just as important as the beginning of the chapter. So here in Ezekiel chapter 37, beginning at verse 16 and going down to verse 28, notice what it says. Ezekiel chapter 37 from verse 16 to verse 28. Notice what it says. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it, for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it, for Joseph, and for the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. So you have Judah and Israel, the northern tribe or the southern tribe, and the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. And join them to one another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. And the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? And say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, I will take the stick of Joseph in the hand of Ephraim and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in thine hand, in mine hand. And the sticks whereof thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their detestable idols, nor with their detestable things, with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them, so they shall be my people, and I will be their Most High. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their most high. They shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. One more witness. We had two witnesses. Let's get a third one. That would be Brother Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah. So we got Isaiah as a witness, and we got Jeremiah as a witness. Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah chapter 23, beginning at verse 5. Jeremiah chapter 23, beginning at verse 5, going down to verse 8. Jeremiah 23, 5 to 8. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. This is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh's our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say, Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries whither I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. So you can see the brothers coming back together. You can see the divide and conquer technique will no longer work. Why? Because the focus of the awakened Hebrews, both from the northern tribes and the southern tribes, will be the glory of Father Yah. Therefore, receiving his spirit, both receiving his spirit, will be unified with each other. You understand, brethren, we cannot be unified unless we're all under the same spirit. Does that make sense? You can't just decide to be unified because we have a common cause. That does make sense. We have a common cause. But the common cause in times past, we've had a common cause, and we have not been able to be reconciled and unified. We are unified by the Spirit of the Father. When we are all under the same Spirit, we will have unification. That's how we are be unified. So when the disciples received blessings and distributed to every man as they had need, that's because they were all under the Father's Spirit. They have received the early rain from the Father. And so we are reconciled to each other when I have the Father's Spirit sealing me and you have the Father's Spirit sealing you, we become reconciled together. And since the Father said, I'm going to pour my spirit on you, he said it in many places. We know Ezekiel, we know Isaiah, we know Joel, we know the Messiah. When he said, I'm going to pour my spirit on you, that's going to cause us to be united, which is why the 144,000 will be united from the 12 tribes, because the Father has sealed us with his spirit in our foreheads. Praise the Most High. So that's going to bring unity. Whenever someone is calling for unity, but not calling for prayer to the Father for his spirit, they are wasting your time, because unity will not happen, not eternal unity, unless you have an eternal spirit sealing you. That's the only way. Okay. Otherwise, the divide and conquer technique will continue to work against us. But again, we had just read the prophecy where we know it's going to fail. Eventually, it's going to fail. It's not going to work anymore. And the reason is Israel and Judah will both be seeking the glory of the Heavenly Father and both be under his spirit, so that the divide and conquer technique will not help them at that time. Genesis chapter 42, the reconciliation of the brothers. Genesis chapter 42. Here's the beginning. We call it the beginning of the reconciliation. It takes them a couple of times, to a couple of chapters to get this complete, but we'll see the beginning of it here with this famine. So this is Genesis chapter 42, beginning at verse 1. Genesis chapter 42, beginning at verse 1, going down to verse 10. Now, when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, Why do ye look one upon another? And he said, Behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren, for he said, Lest peradventure mischief befall him. And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. And Joseph was the governor over the land. And he it was that sold all the people to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed themselves before him with their faces to the earth. And Joseph saw his brethren and knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them, and said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies, to see the nakedness of the land are ye come. And they said unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. So you remember, Joseph was 17 years old. Now, the famine is in the land. So Joseph is at least 37. Remember, there was 7 years of plenty. He started when he was 30. So he's at least 37 now. So it's 20 years later. 20 years later. He had the dreams where they were all bowing to him, and 20 years went by. You understand what I'm saying now? The Father can give you a dream. That don't mean it's happening tomorrow, okay? He can give you a dream and show you the future, and it could be way in the future, even 20 years or longer, okay? He told Abraham, you're going to have a son. Abraham had that son 25 years later. Not the next day, not the next year, 25 years later, he had the son, okay? So sometimes the Father will show you something, because the Father, 1,000 years is nothing to him. So he can show you and I something that will take a quarter of our lives, half our lives to be fulfilled. But it will be fulfilled. And remember, Joseph nor Jacob understood his dream. But now, with this situation, Joseph remembered the dream and now understood what it meant. That the Father was showing when he was 17, that in the future, his brethren will be bound to him. In the midst, and now we see now a famine. They're coming for survival. So now he's testing them. They didn't recognize him. 20 years went by. This wasn't a 17-year-old boy anymore. It's a 37-year-old grown man with 2 children. Okay? So this was not the same guy. Not only that, if they were all so-called white men, and he's in African Egypt, you think they would have recognized something different about him than the rest of the Egyptians? You think something would have stood out if they was all, of the Caucasian so-called race, so-called Caucasian race? But they must have been similarities between not just his dress, which obviously he was dressed as an Egyptian, but they couldn't recognize even his face, that he was their brother. They didn't recognize. And he looked like any other Egyptian to them. But of course, Joseph recognized them. So now he's testing them. He's testing them. Now, what have they learned over 20 years that have went by? What have they learned? So now, Genesis chapter 42, beginning at verse 11, going down from verse 6, from 11 to 16. So they answer, we are all one man's sons. We are true men. Thy servants are no spies. And he said unto them, Nay, but to see the nakedness of the land ye are come. And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man in the land of Canaan. Behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not. And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. Hereby shall ye be proved. By the life of Pharaoh shall ye not go forth thence, except your youngest brother come thither. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether ye are any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely ye are spies. So Joseph is testing him by his younger brother. But I want you to notice they mentioned Joseph. What did they say? They said there were 12 of us. One is with our father and one is not. In other words, one is died, knowing, of course, that they sold him into slavery. But they're saying, we had 12. And they confirmed that they had 12. So now they're not dismissing the fact that Joseph existed. Yeah, we had 12. One is with our father and one doesn't exist anymore. But we had 12. Okay, so now, of course, Joseph is saying, oh, you got another brother? Oh, you bring him over here. Because why? Because Joseph and Benjamin were from the same mother. Rachel was the mother of both of those brothers. Okay, Rachel was Joseph's mother, her firstborn, and then the secondborn was Benjamin, the youngest one. Both of them were born, when you look at the calculations, after Jacob was over 100 years old. Both of them were born. Okay, so praise the Most High. So now he's saying, okay, I'm going to test you. Go get the youngest brother and come back. Because also, Joseph knew that the famine was going to last 7 years, right? It's going to be 7 years of famine. So he knew they were going to have to come back, because Egypt is the only place they have food. All the land, all the nations of that area were suffering under this famine. And Egypt is the only place they have food. So he knew they would have to come back. So he said, bring your youngest brother. Okay. Verse 17. Genesis chapter 42, verse 17. And he put them all together in ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the third day, this do and live, for I fear the Most High. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye carry corn to the famine, for the famine of your houses, and bring your youngest brother unto me. So shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said one to another, we are verily guilty concerning our brother, and that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, spake I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child? And ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. And he turned himself about from them and wept, and returned to them again and communed with them, and took from them Simeon and bound him before their eyes. So Joseph understood what they were saying. They were feeling guilty about what they did to Joseph. And they recognized that they would have to pay the piper. They committed the crime. They got to do the time. They knew that there was going to be some answer for what they did to Joseph. And now Joseph, he hears them talking, and he knows Reuben was trying to save him from them. But they all sold him. So he takes Simeon, one of the two sons of thunder. He took Simeon and he said, I'm going to keep you. The rest of y'all go and bring back your younger brother. Praise the Most High. Okay. Verse 25. And Joseph commanded to fill their sacks with corn and restore every man's money into his sack, and to give provision for the way. And thus did he unto them. And they laded their asses with corn and departed thence. As one of them opened his sack and gave his ass provender in the inn, he espied his money, and behold, it was in the sack's mouth. And he said to his brother, my money is restored. Lo, it is even in my sack. And their heart failed them, and they were afraid, saying one to another, what is this that the Most High hath done unto us? And they came unto Jacob, their father, into the land of Canaan, and told them all that befell them, saying, the man who is the Lord of the land spake roughly to us, and took us for spies of the country. And we said unto him, we are true men, and we are no spies. we be 12 brethren, sons of our father. One is not, and the youngest is this day with our father in the land of Canaan. And the man, the Lord of the country, said unto us, hereby shall I know that ye are true men. Leave one of your brethren here with me, and take food for the famine of your households, and be gone. And bring your youngest brother unto me. Then shall I know that ye are no spies, but that ye are true men. So will I deliver your brother, and ye shall traffic in the land. And it came to pass, as they emptied their sacks, that behold, every man's bundle of money was in his sack. When both they and their father saw the bundles of money, they were afraid. And Jacob said, their father said unto them, me have ye bereaved of my children. Joseph is not, and Simeon is not, and ye will take Benjamin away. All these things are against me. And Reuben spake unto his father, saying, slay my two sons, if I bring him not to thee. Deliver him into my hand, and I will bring him again to thee. And he said, my son shall not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he is left alone. If mischief befall him by the way in which ye go, then shall ye bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to the grave. So now the drama is on. So now they know they got to bring back Benjamin if they're going to get more food. The food is not going to last. They got Simeon in Egypt, and as far as they know, Joseph is dead. So it's some drama here. So we're going to see chapter 43 is going to be very, very interesting. Chapter 43 is going to be very interesting. And chapter 44 too. We coming to the nitty gritty of this thing, the nitty gritty of this drama. So we start next Friday by the grace of the Most High, chapter 43, and we will continue in 44 and 45 as we're going through here through Genesis. We're coming to unfortunately, the end of the book soon, and I'm not even sure the Most High hasn't impressed me yet. He will, but he hasn't impressed me yet with what to study next after Genesis. But right now, I'm focused on Genesis. So we'll just enjoy this and learn the lessons of Genesis. Praise the Most High. Yeah, Joseph and Benjamin, that's right. So let us continue. Please continue to read your Bibles. Continue. Yes, thank you for blessing my family and blessing my father. We're going to go see him this afternoon and make sure that everything is good and that they're taking proper care of my daddy. Praise the Most High. Thank you again for your prayers toward us. We greatly appreciate that. Please continue to do so. Continue to pray for our brothers and sisters. Pray for Imam Prakash's family and his wife. Pray for Brother Castle King and his family. Pray for Sister Isha Shama, Brother, Sister Daniels and their family. And pray, continue to pray for each other. Praise the Most High, Yah, and he will bless us. He will bless our way. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. This is much shorter than we normally do, but I guess it is what it is, right, brother? It is what it is. We didn't plan that, but yeah, it is what it is. So next, chapter 44. Praise the Most High. Shalom.